Your commonapp essay is boring, but we're going to fix it. Consider the structure of the hero's journey. We are introduced to a hero, the hero fights a dragon, and there's a happy ending. This narrative, and most traditional chronological narratives, is made up of 6 steps. First, the hook. It needs to be gripping and cinematic. In this case, it will be a scene of the hero running from the dragon. Then the status quo, which explains what life was like before. So the hero lives in a village, she doesn't want to leave, but she's well known for her fighting skills. Then the inciting incident. This is the catalyst to the journey, what really starts off the hero's growth and change. She's running from the village burned by the dragon along with her friends. There's nowhere to go, and the damage done by the dragon is literally brought close to home. Then we raise the stakes, the rising action. The hero realizes how much is at stake, how much she might lose if she doesn't succeed in killing the dragon. Then the climax, the completion of an internal shift. She's accosting the dragon in his lair, she's injured, will she succeed, and how? This needs to be internal as well as external. Not only does she kill the dragon, but she recognizes how important it is to protect her friends and country, even if it means going through such struggle. And then the outcome. There's a new status quo. The hero is honored by the ruler, she rebuilds the village with reward money and goes back to her previous life, but she's different because she has accepted her place as warrior and caretaker. This straightforward chronological structure works for some essays, but you want your essay stuffed full of creativity and interest. So instead of a traditional structure, try a montage or a braided essay. In a montage, the admissions officer will get to know you, or the reader will get to know the protagonist by seeing them in a variety of snapshots or anecdotes. For our hero's story, a montage will look like this. The intro/status quo, the hero is gardening with some side commentary about how much it means to her. Then raising the stakes, the hero is running from the burning village and says something along the lines of, "I didn't know what I was going to do as my life burned behind me." And then the climax, she's fighting the dragon and there's side commentary about how this taught her determination and grew her fighting skills. And last, the outcome, she's rebuilding the village and there's side commentary about resilience and how she learned to embrace both sides of her personality. 3 or 4 snapshots is enough. You don't want to put in so many that you can't develop them fully within the word count. The key here is that all of your snapshots or anecdotes need to be gripping and descriptive with good transitions. Otherwise, your story will seem disjointed and uninteresting. A braided essay provides depth to your topic by showing 2 ways that the protagonist, you, gets to the same conclusion. In the case of our hero, a braided essay would keep our original plot of hero being called to fight a dragon, village burning down, etc., except it would intersperse it with another story. Maybe in this case, the hero remembers planting a garden with her father and the weeds that grew alongside the vegetables. And that gives us, the readers, a framework to place her story about the dragon on, to understand the depth of how she feels about it. First, the hook. The dragon is burning the hero's village. And then a flashback. She's watching the plants grow from seeds in the garden, and her dad is teaching her that the weeds have to be rooted out to help the vegetables and flowers grow. Then the status quo of our current story. She didn't want to kill a living thing, but when she ran from her village, she saw that humans and dragons couldn't live in harmony. Another flashback. She didn't pull up all the weeds because they were growing flowers, and thorns grew up around the tomato plants. When she tried to pick the tomatoes, she tore her skin on the brambles and ran to her dad. The climax of our dragon story. She's battling with the dragon. Will she succeed? Will she kill it? And then the outcome of both stories at once. The dragon is dead, just like her dad painstakingly tore up the flowering brambles so she could get the tomatoes their poor family desperately needed. Rebuilding the village, she plants tomatoes. Just like with the montage, you don't want too many extra scenes. I've cut a bit from the original storyline and the flashbacks will stay very short. You do need a connection point between the 2 stories, like the tomatoes here. The structure that works best for your essay will depend on the content of your essay. If you have a lot to say about yourself, maybe you do a montage structure. If your focus is a chronological story of personal change, you can stick with the good old 3-act story structure. And if you have 2 similar stories that go together, a braided structure would be the best choice. Leave a comment if you have a question on test prep, college counseling, or college essays that you'd like me to answer.